Stop crying.
Stop with the tears.
Don't cry.
Pick yourself up.
Stop with the emotion.
Don't be a pussy.
Don't let nobody disrespect you.
Be cool and be kind of a dick.
Always keep your mouth
Nobody
shut.
likes a tattletale.
Bros come before hoes.
Don't let your woman run your life.
You a bitch.
What a fag.
Get laid. Do something.
Be a man.
Be a man.
Grow some balls.
The three most destructive words that every man receives when he's a boy is when he's told to be a man.
We've constructed an idea of masculinity in the United States that doesn't give young boys a way to feel secure in their masculinity, so we make them go prove it all the time.
Within their peer group culture, each of them is posturing based on how the other boys are posturing, and what they end up missing is what they each really want, which is just that closeness.
In good times, guys are like really close to each other, but when things get a little bit worse, you're on your own.
From middle school, I had 4 really close friends. Once I kind of went into high school, I struggle finding people I can talk to because I feel like I'm not supposed to get help.
Our kids get up every morning. They have to prepare their mask for how they're gonna walk to school. A lot of our students don't know how to take the mask off. What is it you don't let people see? Almost 90% of you have pain and anger on the back of that paper.
If you never cry, then you have all these feelings stuffed up inside of you, and then you can't get them out.
They really buy into a culture that doesn't value what we've feminized. If we're in a culture that doesn't value caring, doesn't value relationships, doesn't value empathy, you are going to have boys and girls, men and women go crazy.
I had anger issues in high school. I felt like an outcast.
I've been suspended at least once every year I was here.
We would just look for trouble and just like try to fight.
Boys are more likely to act out. They're more likely to become aggressive. Most people miss that as depression or see it as a conduct disorder or just a bad kid.
I felt like just giving up on life. You know, I actually had suicide thoughts in my head at 6th grade.
I felt alone for a long time, and I actually thought about killing myself.
Whether it's homicidal violence or suicidal violence, people resort to such desperate behavior only when they are feeling shamed and humiliated or feel they would be if they didn't prove that they were real men.
If you're told from day one, don't let nobody disrespect you, and this is the way you handle it as a man, respect is linked to violence.
If I can man up, why step down from that, you feel me?
It's like instinct.
So man up.
Man up.
Man up. Man up. Pull some fucking balls. Act like a man.
Be a man.
Be a man.
For my kids, I was gonna end this hyper-masculine narrative here.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you all for being here this morning. So I'm really excited right now. I'm nervous and I'm excited, but I'm really excited that you get to hear from some of our young men. When Chip was talking about this modern day elder, right, I was thinking about how I feel in a room when I'm sitting with these young men and I'm giving them space to kind of talk about what's really going on in their life. And sometimes I feel like old. And I feel like sometimes I'm asking them questions like, who is that? And why do you do that? Because there's a lot of things I don't know about what's happening with them. And I find myself in a questioning phase a lot, this cross-learning, like me trying to learn from them so I can keep up. Trying to keep up with what's happening with the youth. I don't know how many of you deal with youth in any way, and you kind of fused about some of the phrases they say or the things they are enjoying and the things they think are funny or not. And so I'm really excited to have them here today. So my name is Ashanti Branch, and I'm going to let the young men introduce themselves. They're going to tell you like their name, how old they are, what school they go to, and what grade they're in. And then they're going to just tell you like why they're a part of the Ever Forward Club. And so after we hear from them, then I'm going to ask them a few questions, and we're going to hopefully learn from them. Yesterday we had a chance to be a part of the tribe, and the young men had an opportunity. A lot more of our young men are here today. They had an opportunity to let the adults ask them questions so that they could be the experts. Because I think that as much as I remember my teenage years, and I think I remember them very well, like these are the experts of what the youth are going through. These are the experts that speak from the youth position. And so I'm gonna let the experts speak.
My name is Luis Briones. I'm 18. I go to Rice High School in Oakland, and I joined the EFC. Well, it started off as peer pressure, positive peer pressure. And I went into a room and I saw a lot of my friends or people who were my age, and they were really serious. And I don't tend to see a lot of serious faces in school. It's always happy and joking. And I didn't find out until everybody else started feeling down, and I didn't understand why. I was confused, and I found out that we were sharing things that we wouldn't normally share as like guys and in high school, because we would always see one another as being tougher or, oh, we gotta look up to them. And well, I started going more often because I felt like it was a space where I was able to share out how I felt without being judged, and I felt comfortable, and I created more of a community and more of a bond with my brothers.
Awesome.
My name is Daniel Williams. I am 14. I go to San Lorenzo High, and I'm in the 9th grade. I started this program like 3.5 years ago, almost 4, at Reach Ashland Youth Center. I was asked to come by Lorenzo, my mentor, and he showed me what AFC could do, so I tried it, and this is what happened.
Hi, everybody. My name is Christian Green. I've been at Ever Forward Club for about 3 years now, but I attend San Lorenzo High School. And the reason why I keep coming back to EFC is because, like, they offer a safe space for me and stuff, like where I can open up if I'm feeling angry and stuff. But what keeps me coming back is, like we go on trips and, like, he teach me how, like, to speak to people and, like, how to approach people. And that's one of the reasons why I came.
My name is Deshaun Smith. I attend San Lorenzo High School. I'm a junior and I'm 16 years old. I started the Ever Forward Club about 2 years ago. Started off, I was walking to the Reed Center. I smelled food. I was starving that day. So so I walked in. I saw they had some Domino's pizza. I was like, all right, let me see what they about. But anyways, get back on track. When the meeting started, I felt something I never felt before, and I felt that I was heard. No, you can't go onto the street and talk to anybody else about your problems the way you could in the Ever Forward Club. My mentor Lorenzo, he's helped me a lot to experience new things and just become the young man that I feel like I want to be. To not be the stereotype that I have above my head, to not own up to my responsibilities that my mother shows me that I should. I appreciate the Ever Forward Club and appreciate everything they've done for me.
So I'm not sure where you were at 14 and 16 and 18. But these young men have done a lot of work when they come to Ever Forward. Like our expectation of them is that they get real, that they speak their truth, even when it's not pretty. And one thing you probably saw in the documentary, or maybe you know from experience, is that young men have this thing where they have a hard time getting real. Because society tells a lot of our young men that in order to be a real man, you have to show certain qualities and characteristics. Right? Tough, serious, dominant, hard. Like there's a lot of, and depending on what community you grew in, you may have learned different lists. But the community that we grow up in, there's a really fine and very serious list of what you cannot cross if you want to be considered manly. And our hyper-masculine definition of what it means to be a man sometimes causes our young men to act very differently than how they really feel in their heart. And so I guess I'll start with that question first is, so what do you find as one of the challenges of being a young man today? Like, what do you find as one of the challenges today of being a young man, personally?
Social media, because that takes time away from school, because we get too carried away with our phones.
Yeah. You can go in any order. Just
one of the challenges that, one of the things that challenges me as being a youth today is, like, I feel like I have to fit in a society that I really don't have to fit into, because, like, if I feel like people ain't gonna like me, like, for who I am, I gotta, like, fit in the way they fit. Like, I gotta be the type of person that they that they are. So I basically be a follower.
Me personally, one of the most challenges as a young man is to not fail, and it's a lot of pressure on young men today, especially black men in the society I live in, because they expect you to fail, they expect you to drop out of school, they expect you to be something in the future. And, I don't want to be that. I want to make an impact on everyone's lives. I want to change the world.
I think one of the challenges that a lot of us men face is the ideas of what it means to be a man. It's a title based by society where we always have to fight one another as men. We always have to feel superior to one another. We always have to seem more cooler, wear the best clothes, have the most girlfriends, have heck of cars. And then it's just the idea where we always have to fight one another. And I feel like that divides us a lot, because we need to, like the program, we need to build the brotherhood, and together we stand stronger. And the whole idea of what it means to be a man, where we can't speak how we feel, we can't share our emotions, where we're supposed to be tough and talk back to people. There's a lot of things that oppress us, especially as men and women. But men face the whole titles of, like, we're the ones who have to work, the women are the ones who's supposed to be home cleaning. And that whole idea, if we are being told and taught that while we grow up, so we just act on what we've been taught, and then it kind of affects our future, and we won't see it until it happens to us.
Thank you. So on the way over this morning, we had to drive over. I had to go pick them up, and so you may have experienced this, or maybe you've seen this in a movie, right? So I'm kind of telling them a brief idea of kind of what we're going to talk about on the way over. And so Deshaun, he's playing a game, like, while I'm talking. So I'm like, wait, I think I just said I'm trying to talk, and there's a bloop, bloop, doop, 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 doop. I'm like, you playing a game? He said, no, I'm thinking. I'm actually thinking about what you're saying. I'm like, you can't. And I said, you know what? I'm going to use you on stage today, right? Like, I'm trying to get him to think and get prepared for this. And he's like in this game, and I'm like, how do you do two things at the same time? It doesn't work for me, but it doesn't mean it doesn't work for him. And so I think one of the things I said I was going to lead into that with is, what advice do you have for adults about youth, and not only their technology, but just about youth today? Because I think that sometimes, like, I wanted to be like, I was definitely not mindful in what I was thinking about saying to him. Now, I didn't say it, but I thought it twice, and then I held back. But I think it's real. And so as a teacher for 11 years, you're talking, you may have experienced it, but you may have saw it. But if you haven't experienced or saw it, I just told you what happened today. So I'm gonna let Deshaun speak first to how he can process these things, or what advice he has for adults, because I think sometimes there's a disconnect in how we understand each other. So they're all gonna answer something about what advice they have for adults.
I think the strongest advice I can offer you guys would be, as a teenager, we have our own world. We go through our own emotions. Like, I'm pretty sure you are all teenagers. You understand what my perspective is. But like, I was in the car, so we all have a reason for the things that we do. I was in my game. We was talking. I was in my game because I was scared. I'm nervous. So if I look up on the phone and be fully engaged in this conversation, then I'm thinking about all the negative things that I could possibly do on the stage today. And so, like, if I fully engage myself into one thing that I'm scared about, then I don't want to man up, face the difficulties that I will have to go through. So as a teenager, you have to, as an adult, you have to figure out what the reason, the things that we do. Like, you have to listen to us, ask us why do we do the things we do. Don't get mad at us. Don't be so quick to come to a conclusion of, oh my God, this kid, let me ground him just because I want to ground him, or take his game away. Don't let him go to the movies next weekend. But yeah, this teenager, it is hard for us. And, I would just like just to let you guys understand that.
You have anything for adults? Any advice for your teachers? You have advice for your parents? You have advice for?
Nah, it's just kind of similar to what he's saying, like how it's hard for teenagers. So.
Okay.
I agree a lot with Deshaun. Like, we tend to use a lot of our devices in a way to kind of like separate ourselves from reality and like not try to face the challenges that we are facing. And it's just a way for us to not have to worry about it and us feel more better and less afraid. And because we also know that being afraid is not considered as being a man, because we're always tough. But another advice I would give to parents is that spend a lot of time with your children. Like, if you're able to travel, well, not travel, but if you're able to take out your children and let them feel how the world is, or like see how the world is, and spend a lot of time with them, so they grow up having a bond and being able to communicate with you and others, then it's gonna help them a lot in the future, because they're not gonna be so based on their phones, on their computers, or on their games, and that's gonna help them a lot in the future when they are looking for jobs, when they're talking to adults. I didn't really grow up with that privilege of being able to go out and hang out with family. So I was really quiet and I didn't really talk a lot, but thanks to Branch and bringing me to events like this, I was able to talk to a lot of people and talk to adults, talk to people the same age as me, especially in a big crowd. And now I feel comfortable talking to like a big crowd of people and having more of a skill to communicate. And that's something that's gonna help me a lot in the future. So if you guys could start that at a young age for your children, that'll be great.
Awesome. So we're coming down to the end, and I thought that I was going to have a question for them, but I thought that it would be a little bit more exciting for them to ask you a question. And you don't get to answer, not right now, but if you see them later on today walking around, then you can answer. Because I think maybe the youth have a question for adults that they don't ask because they feel like they would be embarrassing them, or it may be rude. So they're going to ask a general question, and if you have an answer for them sometime later today and you see them, say, I got an answer for your question. And if you don't, then it wasn't for you, right? Or you can connect with them in some other way. So what questions do you have for adults? Are you going to just finish with, this is a question I have for adults that I've thought about. What questions do you have for adults that you've been wondering?
Do they still have a mindset as a teenager?
Okay. Anyone else?
10 years from now, what do you see me doing? 10 years from now, what do you see your children doing?
You have one?
Do y'all remember how I felt to be 16?
Okay. Say it again, so I want to make sure you heard it. Say it again.
Do you remember how I felt to be 16?
Okay. All right. So the charge has been set to you. If you have an answer for them, we have a table out there in front, so you can come and see some of the young men out there, and we'll be here for the rest of the day. Thank you for being here this morning. Let's give a hand to the young men for Ever Forward.